would wait on us all day. We would just lay on the couch. She would make us our favorite foods, whether it was her perfect chicken patty sandwich that I'm still trying to perfect, or her grilled cheese sandwich. We would watch Fraggle Rock, Puff the Magic Dragon, or my favorite was Dennis the Menace. She was probably trying to teach me a lesson there. And you better believe that when 11 a.m. struck, Bob Barker with The Price is Right was on. Grandma was truly the most loving, selfless, faithful, generous, sweetest person. We all agreed we don't think we have ever heard her utter a single complaint, not once. She was always doing for others. Jeremy said that one time he remembers she was baking brownies for hours and hours when he was over there. And he asked her how they tasted, and she replied, I don't know. Well, and we all know that Grandma would have never eaten the brownies. Once again, just showing her selfless nature and always doing for others. As we reflected on Grandma's life and legacy, we realized an analogy for her, and all the grandkids should appreciate this one. For those of you that don't know, Grandma always carried the same purse, even when she got a new one of the same one. Anyone know what the brand was? The Drifter. It was a Drifter bag. As we thought about it, we realized that Grandma's life is very much like her Drifter bag. Hang tight, I'll explain. If you were sick, she had medicine. If you were in need, she had money. If the offering basket came around, she always had $1 for each of us to give. If you were hurt, she had Band-Aids. If you were hungry, she had snacks. If your clothing needed repair, she had a needle and thread at all times. If you were bored, she had pens and paper to pass the time. If you needed a little cheer, she always had a little treat to share. If you were sad, she had tissues to dry your eyes. And if you asked, there was always Trident gum. And she always had pictures of those she loved. The Drifter bag is an analogy of her heart, selfless, giving, and loving. It couldn't have been easy to always carry around that bag full of all those items, but she did, always, just waiting for an opportunity to bless someone. Grandma always made each of us feel so loved and special, including all her great-grandkids that she adored. The kids always loved spending time with her, whether it was studying the birds in the bird feeders and looking through all the bird books, or even playing in the wee bowling league side by side with Grandma in the nursing home. When we asked the kids about Grandma, they said that out of everything, they will miss her love the most. And I have to agree. We have so many treasured moments together, and she will forever live on in our hearts and in the hearts of all of the many people that she impacted.
Those who don't know me, I'm Sean, I'm Kelly's son. And kind of like Jessica, I'm going to get the perspective of the grandchildren. And I've heard it said that true success is when those who know you best love you most. And that's true. As I look through Facebook, especially from all my relatives, to see all the things that they said, it was just really overwhelming to just, not that I didn't already know this, but you saw how those people who knew her best just absolutely loved her to pieces. There wasn't anything there that I didn't already know, nothing, but it was just all good stuff. And it's probably not too surprising that, hey, people love their grandma. People think their grandma's the best, and they have a lot of nice things to say about her, or their mom, or whatever, but I think I can speak for all the ones of my generation that says we really did have the best. Grandma was special, and she had unique seasons with all of us, whether it's kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. And my brother Ryan told me that he had been dreading this moment since we were kids, and I know what he means, that as kids you see your friends' grandparents pass away, and you get older, and we lost some of our own grandparents, and you just think you start to think about your own grandparents' mortality. It's hard to imagine a life without them. And you just didn't think that day would come, that we would no longer have her. My earliest memory of her is fittingly at church. She was the nursery preschool teacher at our old church in Willoughby, and I remember her one specific lesson. My earliest memory of her is teaching us about Jesus feeding the 5,000, and she used visuals of food and goldfish crackers to hammer that point home, and I never forgot it, never will. Grandma was one of a kind, soft and tender, but she was tough when needed. Obviously a lot tougher on her own kids than she was on her grandkids. I don't know what she used with you, but yeah, with us, it, like, was a fly swatter. Like, that doesn't hurt. And when the boys, especially, would get into trouble, the granddaughters would quickly learn everyone's middle names. Brian James, Kenneth Darrell, Jeremy Michael. The most special time, for speaking for my brothers and I, was when we were kids in elementary school, and as mom and dad go off to work, grandma came over for pretty much all of our elementary lives. And she'd babysit us in the morning, help us get ready for school, and do all that came with that. And if you knew my grandma, if you knew Ida, you knew she was a person of routine. And one of her routines during that season of life for many years was to make French toast every Tuesday morning. She was taking care of her own mother in the mornings before she would come to us. I'm sure she gave it to Grandpa, and then she brought it over to us. And you're going to hear a lot about, and you've experienced, I'm sure, a lot of great like baked goods and things that she made. But the weird thing about this French toast was it was nothing special. You know, her son Kevin would blow her out of the water when it comes to fancy French toast. But her French toast, not even like Texas toast, just thin little French toast with cinnamon on it. And but still, my brothers and I, we looked forward to that. Coming, you know, as she came in the morning, we popped it in the microwave and enjoyed it. But even though it was one of her few simple things she made, it was still special to me. And inspired by that, the French toast I make is probably pretty similar to hers. Pretty simple, no Texas toast, no fancy stuffed cream cheese